This sode would not be possible without the support of our listeners, patrons, and sponsors. If you'd like to learn more about supporting the 3-Bit Gamer Show, check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/3BG. And a huge thanks goes out to our boss level patrons, Christopher and Patrick.
Okay, everyone, listen up. It's time for this week's dope new quarantine intro. Are you ready?
Great. Here we go again.
What the?
Yeah, seriously, this is a terrible idea, JD.
Yeah, JD, not everything you poop is gold.
You know what? You sound like such an idiot, JD. That idea was rotten
Dumb.
maggot butts.
Seems like too harsh.
I feel like you're getting off easy, honestly.
You know what? You're lucky we even like you, JD. But after this, I'm not even so sure I like you.
Yeah, see, so we do the whole, mean thing, and then we just wrap up after you guys are all done being mean to me.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up. I'm not sure I want to do that.
No. I'm in. Let's be mean to him.
You've just logged into...
No. You lost that privilege. I'm going to say it. You just logged into the 3-Bit Gamer Show. You turd.
Welcome to the Mean Bit Gamer Show. I'm JD.
This is Peterson.
This is Aaron.
And, maybe I'll keep doing meta intros. I don't know. Guys, I'm just so tired all the time now. I think we should move on to our next segment, though. Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news! All right, our news segment is brought to us, as always, by Crave Cookies. Crave Cookies, now owned by a proud father and mother pair.
Man.
Trent's little baby Quinn.
So cute.
Was born this last weekend, and I'm so happy. So congratulations to Trent. And congratulations to the Crave Cookies family. Crave Cookies sponsors our news segment. If you guys weren't aware, it's this awesome little cookie shop here in Midvale, Utah, and they have a new different type of cookie every week. This week they have the chewy churro back. It's a chewy churro cookie. It's unbelievable.
I do want that one.
Yeah, check them out. You can find them at cravecookies.com. All right, so we've got a little bit of news, and then we've got a really good episode I'm stoked to do. So, Peterson, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, so kick us off with some nice lighthearted news. I can't. Okay, so there's this game that just came out, and I say game in the loosest sense. It's about, they said you can finish the game from anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes to play through it. It's just
That's
download.
my perfect length for a game.
What?
Yeah,
that's what I want it to be.
It's called Hard Lads, which is coincidentally what we're renaming the podcast.
Okay, the 3 Hard Lad Show.
You've just logged into the Hard Lads Gamer Show. So
yeah, I like that.
The headline:
so cool.
Hard Lads, a game about shirtless dudes hitting and kissing each other.
Dude, this is the best. This is the best.
Well, they kiss before they hit each other.
Okay, so let me explain
Peterson,
what's happening.
Yeah. Tell us the background here.
Okay, so this comes from a video. Just a video that some British guys made who were a little bit drunk at the time they made it. The video starts with these two dudes, these two buff guys, shirtless. They kiss each other, just a quick kiss, and then he decides to try to, break a chair over his back. But he fails several times.
Dude, it is not. This is a well-built, heavy outdoor folding chair. This is not like a splintery piece of shit chair. or like a chair that's made out of balsa wood. This is like a solid oak chair, and they wail on this guy with it. And then one dude gets way too excited and slams it down feet first on his back.
Like
Which
feet down
in no
into
world.
his back.
You could slam it down feet first on the hardest surface known to man, and that chair wouldn't break. This served no purpose other than to just completely wreck the dude that 2 minutes earlier he had shared the most tender of kisses with. Dude, it is the funniest fucking video I've ever seen. It is absolute just like insanity. And so tell us how we're talking about this on a video game podcast, Peterson.
So someone made a game, and it looks like you essentially are controlling the camera, like the cell phone camera recording.
The cell
these two
phone
guys.
camera.
Yeah.
Through a first-person perspective.
And so you just see your hand with the cell phone, and you're recording them, and then you just, I don't know, like you aim at different
keep them
places,
in frame.
and they do stuff. They'll smoke, or hit each other, or kiss, or take a drink, or
Oh yeah, don't they drink a bunch of vodka before they do this? These are fucking total shavs from the UK. That's like the most UK. You hear them just saying all this nonsense that you can barely make out in English. But after he hits the guy with the chair legs, one of them just like goes off, and I'm like, wow, none of those words are the Queen's English.
Yeah. It's incredible. I loved everything about the story, the game, and the video. It was so ridiculous and such nonsense that I'm watching it right now. I just can't get enough. It's so stupid. What is happening?
Yeah. I don't know, dude. We need more of these like stupid viral videos to be made into video games, because quite frankly, there's so many videos on the internet that I watch that I'm like, if the cameraman was slightly more practiced, this video would be a fucking Pulitzer Prize winning video. So it's basically a viral video sim for people.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I think that's good because people need practice, because guess what? When you see something like a goat screaming, or I guess a mongoose screaming on the edge of a cliff, like any animal screaming, you got to be able to keep that shit in frame.
Focus, yeah.
And Hard Lads lets you do that.
So hard.
I gotta stop watching this video. I can't stop.
Dude, it is so funny. You showed us that shit, and I was like, what is this? This is the most amazing thing. Okay, so let's move on. We've got, so The Last of Us 2, reviews are rolling in, and they are conclusive.
Yeah, is it good?
Kind of. Yeah, dude. Honestly, it's like the worst game ever. I mean, Wired magazine came out and said The Last of Us Part 2 tries to be profound, and it fails.
That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, what are you talking about, JD? You sound crazy. Okay, obviously this is a 10 out of 10 game. If you read any of the reviews besides Wired, I guess. I don't know. Listen to this.
See, that sounds good, yeah.
Yeah, so Screen Rant, you've heard of them, right? They say,
I guess.
They say, the greatest game of this console generation, of that there is no doubt. It's also quite possibly the greatest video game of all time. Screen Rant.
I feel like they're writing about a different game than Vice magazine was writing about, because Vice said that The Last of Us is a grim and bloody spectacle and a poor sequel. Are we talking about the same game here?
Well,
yeah, it's part 2, right? Part 2?
Yeah. Well, IGN, you've heard of IGN, possibly one of the biggest game reviews sites out there. They called it a masterpiece worthy of its predecessor, which is one of the greatest games of all time. So 10 out of 10, clearly.
Well, Polygon just put it simply and said, quote, "We're better than this." So...
What the freak does Polygon know? Is anyone even read them anymore? Okay.
Yeah, Polygon.
Game Rant. Builds on the post-apocalyptic opus with The Last of Us Part 2, delivering incredible visuals and an emotional story. What else could you want in a game? Game rant.
I've also heard it called subpar subversion. The Last of Us Part 2 tries so hard to disconnect itself from its predecessor that it ends up disconnecting itself from the player. That's from Cultured Vultures.
Yeah,
I think it's very clear. It
Mm.
sounds very clear that there's a consensus within the games media about The Last of Us Part 2.
The Last of Us Part 2, you mean the most accessible game ever from the BBC. Okay, tell me it gets more legit than BBC. What do you have?
I'm just saying I think it's really clear that it's the
10
worst
out of
of Us
10.
Part 2.
I don't know.
So there you go, Aaron. How do you feel
I'm confused. I don't know, man. Do I get it or not?
I will say I read a ton of these reviews. I think it is more polarizing, even probably by like an order of magnitude than Death Stranding was.
Yes,
I have not
that's
seen a
what I
game
was
quite like
thinking.
this.
Like,
This is way worse than Death Stranding. There are people that are like saying it's like god awful, like not good. Or one of these things that we kind of discussed is that it's just awful for the sake of being awful. Like it's way too nihilistic. I don't know.
And then I've seen on the flip side, seriously, people are like, this game is a masterpiece. It's absolutely incredible. Loved every second of it. 10 out of 10. And then you've got streamers playing it and they're quitting halfway and they're like, this is stupid. This is The Last of Us. This is The Last of Us gameplay with a story that we hate. I don't know even what to make of this, to be honest.
I think my biggest takeaway from reading these reviews is it's hard to play. There's this. I just feel like it's deliberately. It's like we talked about. He's a punisher. The Neil Druckmann, the game director, is a punisher of characters. And on top of that, the other thing that I've kind of gleaned is that it is gameplay from a 2013 game. I mean, I think that's inherent in its bones, and you can tell it's kind of dated. It seems dated, like that type of gameplay. They have not significantly tweaked it, from what I can understand, from the original game. So,
that could be a bad thing because, like, go ahead.
I was going to say, real question: are you guys interested in playing this game after we've seen like
I heard you spoiler alert, it forces you to kill a dog, so I'm 100% out. I'm out.
I think you have to kill lots of dogs.
You don't have to kill any of the dogs except for there's one in a cutscene you have to kill. So you can sneak around all the dogs, which would be kind of a fun challenge in the game I'd be into. But then even then, despite that, they force you to kill a dog in a cutscene. There's a Polygon review that I don't want to get too far into this, but there was a Polygon review that basically stated that it's trying to make you feel off. The game tries to make you feel awful for the things it forces you to do. And it's like, if there were options for me to like what is that called, Peterson? When there's like a karma system in a game.
Oh, I think it's called a karma system.
All right. There was a paragon. Isn't that what you usually say? Don't you usually call it a paragon?
There's a paragon system. That's like from I think the Mass Effect games has specifically paragon.
Oh, okay. So generally when games have karma systems, you do shitty evil things. The game's like, hey, you did this evil thing, like Frostpunk or Fallout. But this game's like, you only get to do evil things, and the game's like, what an asshole you are. Fuck you. Why would you do that? Why would you kill that? You just killed that dog.
You told
You're
me
a
to.
real JD.
Yes. So yeah, exactly. So I'm like, that's why I'm totally out on it, because I'm just like, I don't need that right now. Maybe in 2035, when we live in a flying spaceship utopia, I'll be like, yeah, I want to feel disgusting and nihilistic and punish myself. But it's not right now. It's not now.
That's a good point.
Like I remember playing the remastered version, and I didn't like the gameplay. From obviously from the first one. So, but I love the story and everything. The gameplay was, like you said, JD, dated. Like, even, I don't know. So if the gameplay is the same, that's pretty rough, I think.
The first one was dope because the gameplay was one part, but the story was, unique and fresh and cool. And I left it like the ending is so impactful that tacking on a different game feels so out of place. It's just like, I don't want to see the Shawshank Redemption 2. Like
Yeah.
that story ended very well, and I'd like it to leave it there. I don't need to revisit it. Anyway,
Or American History X Part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I want to go back to.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that movie.
Stomping.
I already saw it.
Okay, so let's do this next one. This is excellent. This is our last news story. Luckily, it's been slow. Apparently, Red Dead Online hackers. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, a little bit.
What, a dog barking?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Playing
fine.
Last of Us Part 2?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm killing dogs. So sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Just
Red Dead
say hi
Online.
to Lily in London. Hey, Lily.
So
hey,
annoying.
London.
Red Dead Online hackers had figured out how to. You guys know in Red Dead Redemption 2, the KKK made an appearance every once in a while as a random event in the woods. You could find them at night doing whatever hokum they did around a fireplace, and people had a hobby of going out and massacring and slaughtering these KKK people because there was like no negative consequence and you could just do whatever you wanted.
Yeah,
so people
lots of
had
funny
quite a time
videos.
lighting them on fire.
Yep.
Yes.
Molotov right into the middle of them, and their robes go up and they're just running around on fire, all sorts of stuff.
But because it's 2020 and we live in a nightmarish hellscape, of course, online hackers in Red Dead Online found out how to mod in these KKK dressed characters into the online multiplayer game, because we can't have anything nice. But yeah, so Rockstar has now hopefully fixed that. They claim to have fixed that loophole and ironed out that problem, and I just can't wait. I just can't wait for the gamer rage, you guys.
It's coming.
They're pulling down our monuments in our video games now, you guys. Monuments to our heritage. They're coming after game.
Dare they? First they
They're
pulled down
coming
the
after-
monuments down south, and now they're ruining the monuments in our game? How
Look,
dare
man,
they?
it's just history. It's just history. How else are we supposed to learn from our mistakes than by studying and venerating and celebrating them? I think it feels like I'm being oppressed again, so I'll just move on that because I just can't take it, you guys. You take the clan out of my favorite online multiplayer game. Ugh! Sucks.
Dude, you're really getting rid of my my freedom of speech there, because I could have done it before. And then you took
I'm
it
sorry.
away.
Do we not have First Amendment rights anymore?
Am
I
I
don't get
being
to play as
censored?
whoever I want in a video game.
Wow.
I'm being censored. I feel like I'm being
Wow.
canceled. Is this what canceling is? Because it feels terrible. I hate
do
it.
not like it.
With the glass ceiling broken, all the oppressed groups shall prosper, especially the most oppressed group of all, gamers.
All right, let's move on.
Something nutritious, outrageously delicious. Kudos are yours, I'm yours.
Okay, kudos is our positivity segment. We like to give a shout out to something we love. And this week, guys, I have a kudos for The Floor is Lava.
Oh, the game we play, jumping on the couch, and
Yeah,
like when
it's
you're
the
like
best
4
game
years
ever.
old.
No, it's a show you watch as a full-grown adult on Netflix. Jenna and I just discovered this. It is the funniest game show. It's kind of like, it reminds me kind of like of Wipeout, but it is legit. Like they build, it looks like from a movie set. Well, one of them looked like the inside of a house, which was dope, like a living room. And so you had like a chase lounge and a dresser and all these other things that you would jump on and try to avoid falling, which is, the whole thing is in like a pool of very murky red bubbling water that they keep calling lava. And honestly, they stay in character in the show the whole time. Like they even if a character if a contestant falls like in the lava, they do not show them coming back up or swimming. Like they make it seem like they drown in lava. It
and
is
people
so
are like
funny.
fake
They
crying.
Yes.
No!
Aaron, have you seen it?
Yes.
Yes. Aaron's spot on. People are like, no, we lost her. And they totally acted up. And
Oh my god!
it is so fucking funny. It is so enjoyable. It's just like a dumb obstacle jumping show. Honestly, if it had been on when I was like 11 years old, it would have been an absolute obsession for me. But yeah,
So this reminds me of almost like an escape room. Like an escape room with kind of dexterity kind of challenges.
Yeah, because that's the one. Go ahead.
They're all trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B, and so there's like some hidden stuff that they have to kind of figure out, how to manipulate the environment for their advantage, and
so like kind of, they walk in and there's a big long painting, and if they grab it off the wall, they can use it as a bridge across the lava.
Yeah, like the first one, there was like a staff that they put into a hole that would unlock the sarcophagus that they can push, and
exactly. Everything that Aaron just said is the show. It is so funny. It's just kind of an enjoyable. It's a background show. They even kind of made a joke about it. He's like, "Yeah, if you missed that last thing because you were looking at cat gifs, so we'll show it again."
Oh my gosh!
So it's very self-aware.
My kids.
Oh, absolutely. If your kids, Peterson, if your kids haven't seen this, I have to see their reaction. You have to film them watching it because it is such a kid show. It's so for them. I feel like I was telling Jenna, I was like, I hope they make the lava thick. And then as I was watching, I'm pretty sure it's like a shit ton of red food coloring and a shit ton of cornstarch because it's pretty thick. Like people fall on it, it looks like they're like bubbling like Gollum in lava. It is pretty.
It almost looks like a green screen lava. Like it almost looks fake.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird, but it looks like a
really
Nickelodeon show that you would watch.
Oh, that's spot on. So yeah, check it out on Netflix. The Floor is Lava. Okay, so that takes us to this is our main segment. So as we talked about last week, the Steam Summer Game Festival just wrapped up. If you guys are listening to this, it just wrapped up on Monday of this week, and I jumped in and checked it out, and I keyed Peterson in, and then we reached out to Aaron, and he's like, "Dude, I'm already all over it." So this was a dope game fest on Steam. That this is their first time doing it. I didn't realize they've never done this before. For developers, indie mostly. I feel like it's mostly indie devs, but there were a ton of other games on there.
Yeah.
Demos. They just put all their demos up, and it was only for a weekend, like a long 4-day weekend. But dude, there were 900 games on this.
So for me, it was a real travesty that it was only for that short. This should have been a month.
Should be a month.
Seriously.
Yeah, it should have been like a I don't know, like a world fair of games where you just have like a month to play a billion demos, because the ultimate goal here that was so neat was that they wanted to create a funnel for people to add these games to their wish list. So it was a way for these developers to get their games in a tangible way out in the hands of players so they can make a better informed decision about whether or not to add these games to their wish list. And one of our listeners who had a game, Numels, that we talked about last week, told us, he was showing us in Discord, like the developer, or we have a Discord channel. If you guys don't know, you can always find it on our Twitter or our Facebook. But he was telling us about it in thank you, in our Discord, that you can actually see, they let the developers see their stats on like how many people have wish listed their game by like the hour of a certain day. And so they can watch during this games festival. So yeah, if it had lasted a month, it would give them an opportunity to go back and tweak their demos or like improve things and kind of fix it. But either way, it was so awesome. Collectively, the three of us played 0.3% of all the games on there. And we played 30 effing games.
And like some of them, the demo were like 30 plus minutes. Some of them you'd start and be like, yeah, I know this isn't a good game, or this demo kind of sucks. But a lot of them, I would play for 30 plus minutes. That's a lot of time. And our whole premise was there's so many games to choose from that it was very hard to choose. So we just said, let's play as many games as we can fit in before the episode. And so then we can tell you guys what you should wishlist and what you shouldn't wishlist.
So we did the homework. We are going to go through, I think, round 30. We will take turns. Does everyone have their phones ready? We're going to try to keep it to a minute per game. Kind of just go through, tell you the quick rundown of the game, and then tell you whether or not you should add it to your wish list. Or I guess we should just say if we've added it to our wish list, because we can't tell people whether or not
we'll
they'll
just
like
make
the
a
game.
recommendation. I recommend adding this
Yeah.
to your wish list, right?
Perfect. Yeah.
And then,
I don't want to tell people what to do.
Oh, I will. Are you kidding me? That's why I have a podcast. Put this on your wish list, dummies.
That's why every episode's so fucking long, because we just spend so much time telling people what to do. Aaron, what were you saying?
Oh, so there are a couple that Peterson and I doubled, surprisingly.
Yes.
One I'm not surprised about, but the other one I was actually kind of surprised. So once we get to that, one of us will speak on it and then just follow right up on it
Yep.
with
Perfect.
the other person.
Okay, so how about I'll start, and then Aaron, then Peterson? Does that work?
Sure. Yeah.
Fine, sure,
Okay.
whatever you want.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
fine.
shut up. Everybody shut up. Okay.
Oh, terrible
First
idea
game I
again.
played called Grief Helm. This was a side-scrolling For Honor, basically. You play as... It's a side-scroller. You play as a character with a sword or some sort of medieval weapon, and you are trying to counter the enemy that's fighting you. You can do a high guard, a middle guard, or a bottom guard, and so you can either guard or you can attack high, low, or medium. You can either fight side by... you're fighting from the left side and like a capture the flag status, so like you have to keep killing to get to the right side, and if they kill you, you end up going to the left. Or it's like a one-on-one thing. It's like there's like a tree-like progression through these different fights that you do, but basically the summation of it is side-scrolling For Honor in terms of like this tactical, slow sword gameplay. For me, I don't really like For Honor. I didn't like that gameplay, but I think for people that like that shit, absolutely wishlist it as a fighting game, as a side-scrolling fighting tactical slow game. It was beautiful. The music was awesome. It was a dope game. I'm done.
Okay.
Cool.
Aaron.
Mine is Rift Breaker. So Rift Breaker is a strategy, base building, survival, hack and slash RPG.
I played this.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Why don't you just go, JD? I'm sorry.
No, yeah. Oh, JD, here he comes, taking over again. You know what,
I'm
JD?
so sorry. Keep
Wait your
going.
turn.
I just got so excited.
This is my time. This is my minute.
Wow.
Go.
Okay, so this you crash landed on this alien planet, and you are getting resources, mining minerals, and then you have to build up a base to fend off oncoming just onslaughts of aliens. So you're building turrets, and upgrading your weapons and finding new material to build. So the main objective is that you're trying to get back home to Earth, and you build up your base and get new technology. So this one, I would say I put it on my wish list, and it's I like it a lot. It was fun.
What's it called?
It's called the Rift Breaker, and I will just add a quick addendum that I thought the coolest part in it is there's looting and crafting, and as an RTS, you don't always see crafting. Definitely, there's looting and stuff, but having that crafting element gives you an incentive because there's these huge waves of enemies to kill, and if you kill a huge wave of enemies and they all drop all this random loot, it's like, oh, cool, and then I can use this to build some stuff. So I loved that. I think it was definitely a wish list for me too. So Rift Breakers, if you like an RTS, it kind of reminded me of We Are Billions in terms of huge swarms of things that are coming and you have a heads up.
But with more depth, for sure.
Way more depth.
There's so much stuff to do. It's insane. Go.
Okay, so I played a game because Aaron was like, you got to play it. It sounds like a game that you guys have to play. And it was called Battle Cakes. It was a cupcake themed turn-based strategy JRPG style game. So you
Amazing.
play as a cupcake, and you get to design your cupcake. It's cutesy, it's kind of funny, and you're going in and fighting other cupcakes and pastries.
It sounds so ridiculous. It's
It is so ridiculous, and I will say this is not a recommend for me. I mean, if you want a turn-based strategy game, there's other options out there. This was kind of uninspired. Really, the only thing going for it is the fact that you're a cake. There was, at least in this demo, almost no UI, so the clicking was clunky. I didn't even know what my attacks were supposed to do. So in terms of like a JRPG turn-based strategy, this is a pass. You can find something better.
Okay. So my next one was, I would say, the quirkiest game I played, The Wild at Heart. It kind of looks like what's that monster book with the character Max?
What?
Where the wild things are? I don't know.
Yes, it reminded me very much of Where the Wild Things Are in terms of the art style and the quirkiness of it. It's like a paper cutout art style. You play as a kid that you have like a vacuum pack and these little creatures that you can collect, and you could throw them. There's like different versions, like fire creatures that can like put out fires, and you have other creatures that can like lift up stones and move them for you. For me, the biggest takeaway, super funny dialogue. One example, this is going to take a little bit longer than a minute, but you pick up a shiny rock, and this crazy character hands you this shiny rock, and a pop-up text explains to you that it's a crystal. And the guy that hands it to you, he's like, "Huh? It's a crystal?" As if he had read the help text with you.
Oh my gosh.
It's so funny. Like, it's just funny. You're using small creatures to solve puzzles. It was a wish list for me for sure. If you want like a cute indie game that's not super stressful but will definitely make you chuckle and smile, The Wild at Heart wish list that.
The Wild at Heart. Okay.
All right, so mine next one is Chris Tales. Chris Tales is RPG or JRPG action, kind of I guess turn-based style. JRPG. The animation is super cool. You play as this Chris Bell character, and I don't know what the whole objective is. You're just fighting stuff to get stuff.
Your name is Chris Bell. Is that what it is?
Yeah, Chris Bell. Yeah.
Okay.
And the game's called Chris Tales. I played probably about 10 minutes and then I turned it off. There's only one button you push, and then the rest is like up, down, left, right, and it's just, I don't know. It was stupid. I turned it off pretty quickly.
That's nice. It
was a hard pass for me.
When I could walk away from a demo, I was like, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah.
Peterson, what was your next one?
Okay, so I'm just giving them to you in the order that I actually played them. And sorry if I sound like a negative Nancy, but I played this game called 100 Days. And I actually was kind of excited for this one because I wanted a good simulation game. And this was a winemaking simulation game. So you played as like a vineyard, and you were overseeing it and controlling your crops, and when you were sending the grapes into be turned into wine, and how long you'd let your wine sit, all these things. It sounded very fun. It looked, I will say it looks good.
Dope.
It looks good. The music was great. The demo was okay in itself. But I will say, again, this is UI kind of lost me on this one. With simulation games, you need a little holding at the beginning, and I just wasn't getting it. I didn't know what to do, and there was nothing that would explain for me what to do or what I was clicking, what was happening. It did have, I will say, some very interesting mechanics. So your actions are on a grid board, when then they have a shape, like a Tetris style shape, and you play them however many you can fit into this grid board. So you're just kind of like moving them, manipulating them to make them fit. So I'm going to say this is a pass. However, if there's like a lot of improvements on this game, this could be a very good simulation. But right now, I mean, based on what I saw, it's a pass.
Tell us the game again, or the name again.
100 Days.
100 Days. That's a bummer. I think that was the biggest thing. My biggest gripe on a bunch of games was that they didn't have, which it's hard when you're putting together a demo to get a tutorial together as well. That's a huge lift on top of that. But sometimes your game needs a tutorial. It just needs it. It's too fucking hard. Actually, just because this is not the next game I played, but on that note, I want to say one of my favorite games was a game that I literally couldn't beat one of the demo levels on after like 10 attempts. This is Iron Harvest. Iron Harvest is a very fun RTS. It is set in like an alternate history 1920s. It's very steampunky. You've got like steampunk mech robots. It has a cover system, which Peterson revealed to me I'm a super huge noob when it comes to RTSs because I haven't played a ton with a cover system, and this was so much fun. It was super tactical. I really liked it. Again, it took me 9-10 attempts to actually feel like I had a grasp of the game, and that was just through just experimentation and figuring out. There was no tutorial. The campaign was disabled. The only levels you could play in the demo were the skirmish levels, and I played the first skirmish level, and it was brutally difficult, like so ridiculously hard. I played it over and over and over and over and over again and only made like very incremental improvements. However, I could tell it was an amazing game. My one nit is it's $50 on pre-order and it's not even out of like pre-alpha, but whatever. It's on my wish list. When it's cheap, I'll get it. It's Iron Harvest. Aaron, what you
Iron
got?
Harvest. Cool.
I put that on my wish list. That game looks freaking cool.
Did you play it at all?
No, I didn't even know there was I didn't know there was a lot of
It looks
demos,
cool and it plays so well. It is such a well executed RTS. It's just really smooth. It's old school. It feels old school, like an RTS you'd play in like 2002. It's
kind of reminds me of just looking at it, Company of Heroes almost.
Yes,
the way
that's
you
what
were
I
just kind of
told
describing
Peterson.
it.
Yep. I told Peterson it very much like you have like your main infantry guys and then your engineers that can like build stuff and build different like field operations and stuff.
That is dope.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
So my next one is the Dungeon of Nahu Buick. I don't know. I can't. It's NAHEULBEUK. Whatever.
That just sounded like you were saying random letters.
I know. They just got like a letter generator and just like,
or just
give us 10.
Pulled a fistful of Scrabble letters out of a bag.
So I kind of went on a trend of like turn-based RPGs, tactical type games. So this one, it's fantasy themed, and you control an entire party. This one actually had a really good demo. It kind of really held your hand because there's a lot of nuance in the strategy. So basically it's a dungeon crawl. You're going into a dungeon and enemies are going to be coming at you. So when you're not in combat, you can move freely around the room, and then once you enter a room in combat, you organize your people within like a rectangle, kind of similar to like Total War games where you lay out your people, and then you have a ranger, warrior, a dwarf guy, magic, bow and arrow person. I like it quite
archer.
a bit.
I think the term is archer.
Bow and arrow type person.
Bow and arrow.
Call. Dumb
An arrow
Peterson.
shooter.
A bower.
I liked it. It was pretty good.
A bower.
It was, I think it's a French game, and the English is just, it's kind of bad a little bit, but they swear a lot and it's kind of funny. It's supposed to be whimsical. I put it on my wish list. but it kind of depends on how expensive it will be. Probably
Okay, what's it called again?
the Dungeon of Nahululbuk.
Spell it. You guys spell it for me.
Naheulbuk.
Okay. Okay.
Got that? You got that?
Yeah.
Nabella book.
Nalbook.
That's how I
I
would
bet
say
it's Nalbook.
Now
Yeah,
book.
I don't know.
That's
It's
that's
French.
Okay.
Sounds straight out of The Witcher.
Oh, it's French? You
All right,
just say
Peterson.
the first two letters then. The Dungeon of No.
Ignore that silent. That silent. That's also silent. That adds a honk noise, and the other one is silent.
Cool.
The Dungeon of No.
So it's bon. Yeah, nailed it.
Clearly.
Makes
Okay. Our French-speaking listeners, oh man, they just don't like it when we attempt to speak French. Okay, so my third one, my third game I played, I tried to do like a real good mix of games genres. So the third one I played is called Dwarfheim. It is a simulation RTS, building type of game. You play as some dwarves, and you have like this encampment where you start. It's very RTS. I mean, pretty standard RTS. You build your barracks and then a house for the, and need enough houses to feed all your people, and you've got a main base, and you build some towers for defense, right? It was pretty standard. However, it had this mechanic where your guys could go mine, and then you could set up this like conveyor belt system. Like the rocks would go in, and then it'd go into a forge, and so you'd get it'd break it into like precious gems and stone, and then you could send them off in different directions, and the gems would or you could if there was metal or ore, it would smelt into some kind of metal. And so like you have this conveyor belt system, so you don't have to do all that. You just build the things, and it would just kind of like move along the belt and sort itself, and you get what you get. So I was like, that's tight. I love that, except for I had no idea how it worked. And there was no indication of anything explaining how it worked. And I tried it for probably 30 minutes trying to get this work. I'd start over because like I'd get attacked by these waves of goblins, and I'd lose because all I was building was these miners, trying to get them to get this thing to work. And the problem was the miners would go into the mine and never come out. I'd never see them again. I was like, am I supposed
What?
to build something on top of it?
You're sacrificing them to the mine.
I couldn't figure it out. You could send them in there, and then they were gone. Straight up 10 minutes. Nobody came out. No ore came out. Nothing came out. So the tutorial was bad. It seemed like it was going to be simple, but it wasn't. The clicking was a little odd. It felt a little off on the controls. This is it had all the makings of a classic RTS, and it is a pass for me. I couldn't figure out how to have fun in the game.
That sucks because it looks kind of cool.
Yep.
So the first one that was a pass for me is this game I played called Unto the End. Unto the End, I wanted to love so bad. It's a side-scrolling fighter. And the trailer, if you watch, it's kind of goofy in terms of like the physics, and you can lure enemies into killing each other. And so there's like all these like funny finisher moves and all these things that you can do. And I only experienced one of those in my myriad attempts to get past the very first like checkpoint. It is punishing, like unforgivingly brutal. You have 2 hits and you're dead.
Oh my gosh.
And it is very hard to avoid even a single hit. By sheer dumb luck, I got through like the first. And the thing is it's like there's story and like cutscenes and giant patches of platforming that's not like exciting platforming in between these these very quick fights. So I could 1-hit kill these guys, but they can 2-hit kill me. And I kill one guy, and maybe I don't take a hit, and then I have to go kill 2 guys at the same time. Maybe I don't take a hit, but there's like huge swaths in between those two. So ultimately, it was just way too hard. The gameplay, the combat was fun. It was challenging and satisfying, but the actual build of the game way too unforgiving. So I just could not wishlist it. That was Unto the End.
My next game is called School of Magic. It's I guess it's a roguelike. I don't know. It says it's roguelike. I don't know what kind of factors it makes it a roguelike. But anyway, it's a card battler. Trading card game is the tags. So it kind of sparked my interest. I don't know. It's an RPG, so it's a top down RPG style. So you play as this wizard. You are taking an exam, in quotes, and you're going through this dungeon, killing just mobs of monsters, and you'll level up, and you get cards that you're basically drafting from. So, and then you choose one of the spells of these random spells that you get. So you're trying to create combos and combinations of the cards that you get as you level up. It's made by one guy, so it's hard to knock a game that's made by one guy. The camera and the movement needs a lot of work. I would say this is probably follow, not necessarily wish list or not wish list, but I would say follow it to see what kind of improvement the game makes. Because it seems like it has a lot of cool things going for it. It's just it needs a lot of work. Yeah, it's pretty hard too. Like what
was it called?
School of Magic.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. That's me.
Okay. So guys, finally I have a wish list game that
you've been so cruel.
Dude, it was a rough start. I played 3 games and I was like, oh my gosh, this is not great. And then I played The Rat Project.
Ooh.
This game is made by a Polish developer called The Rat Project. I think they're Polish. It was fantastic. So let me explain what this is. This is a story-based adventure RPG type of game, but it's 2D, and the combat is a card-based system. And you pick up cards by doing things in the game. One of the you play as a kid, and you start off, and right away you wake up from a nightmare, and you're like, Mom, and she's not there. And it's in like a medieval type of setting, right? So you're like, Mom, and she's not there. So you're like, what the heck? Where is she? So you walk in your house, and you find these clues that she has. She drank a lot of wine, took a bunch of pills, and disappeared. And you're like, oh, crap, where's Mom? Right? And so you venture outside. It's dark. It's scary, but you're heading over. And you're a kid, and you have a sword. But there's something special about you. You have magical abilities, which you start to learn might be uncommon in this world. And there's a mechanic as well, and this affects your abilities. The mechanic is, so the decisions you make absolutely matter, which is really fun in an RPG. But the mechanic is there is a curiosity scale and an anxiety scale. So you pick something and it says like how your kid is feeling. If he's like asking questions, but people will respond differently to them. Right? So your emotions influence your choices. It influences the narrative, the story, what's happening, your deck. The card-based combat was very good. It felt very put together. The game seemed hard. It was creepy. The music was creepy. It was mysterious. I loved it. And when the demo ended, I was like, no! I want to play it again. I think the demo's still available. It was honestly fantastic. It was a breath of fresh air. The game is called The Rat Project, which is the name of their studio, so they might end up renaming it. But it looked like it had a successful Kickstarter. This is a definite wish list for me, 100%. One of those games I kept thinking about.
Dope. Good one for me that I loved was a game called Backbone. It's a side-scrolling mystery noir puzzle stealth game. It's got elements of it's got mild platforming, but like elements of point-and-click adventure games. And you can
Is it the one where you're a
you can talk.
raccoon?
Yeah, you're a raccoon detective in a
Nice.
trench coat, and you're a private eye, and it's just like a classic mystery noir. You're trying to solve a puzzle. You end up talking to people, doing favors for people, so they'll let you do a favor for someone else, and then you'll be able to sneak into the back door of this club, so you can like pick through things and like try to find out what's going on in the club. You find clues, you solve mysteries. Honestly, it was an instant wish list for me. The dialogue was pretty good. Gameplay was solid. It had a very noir feel to it, and just as like a fun game that once it's on sale, I'll def give it a couple hours because it was just good old fashioned fun. And like I finished the demo and I actually had like an end, which I think in this Game Fest is very important and valuable. Is that your demo is like, hey, thanks for playing. Here's the whole thing. And at the end, I was like, I want to keep playing. I want more. So, yeah, it was dope. That's it's just called Backbone, which you'll not be able to remember because it really has nothing to do with the game. It should be called like Raccoon PI or some shit, but it's called fucking Backbone. So
it takes place in dystopian Vancouver, British Columbia. Incredible. It looks great too.
It's so cool. It's awesome. It's awesome. All the characters are animals. The bears are the mafia, like shit like that. Like it's pretty fun world building. They had fun with it, and it's fun.
Zootopia,
to play, so, yeah.
Zootopia, the game.
Yeah, it's like grown up Zootopia. Anyway, Aaron, what you got?
My next one's called Fae Tactics.
Oh, I played this one too.
Dope.
A double up.
Man, all right, so cool. There we go. Peterson, let's take it away.
I'm not taking your thunder.
Oh,
just
okay.
Give it your review.
Okay.
I'll take your thunder later.
Okay, so anyway, so Fate Tactics, it's a JRPG-ish, not JRPG. It's a tactics game, but it's kind of 16-bit animation style. So immediately, kind of like, oh, it's kind of cool looking. I didn't play it for too long. It's kind of a longer demo. How long did you play it for, Peterson?
Oh man, probably 15 minutes.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't get much better after 15 minutes. So,
oh my gosh.
It's slow. Like I played probably about 3 or 4 missions, probably 4 missions. There's some cool combos I think that you can pull off, but early in the demo, it doesn't really show off what you could do. So I think demos just need to give you like, this is what you could do, and then start from the beginning. I don't know, because it seems like you're way underpowered. You don't understand what the game could be unless you put in several hours of it. But I don't know. It could be cool. Maybe I just didn't give it its due. But I didn't like it.
Yeah, I'm going to mirror you on that one. I wanted to like this game because the art style was fun. It's just like classic cartoony art style. So I was like, oh, this could be great. That's what I want. I want my JRPGs or my tactical RPGs to be fun. But this game, playing the demo, there was nothing to pull me in, right? It was turn-based on a grid. You play as like this fairy human hybrid that has magic, and you have a pet dog and like a fish bird thingy. And so it's like, dude,
yeah,
this
I
sounds
didn't understand
great.
the fish bird.
I was like, this sounds great. Cool. Like you've got Pokemon pets and they have abilities and you're fighting. But you actually had very little for a tactic grid turn-based game. You had very little control of your character because sometimes you would just click to like do your attack and it would like move your person to the spot where it would do the attack. You had to like aim in the right direction, and the controls maybe felt a little bit too touchy. It just there was nothing to pull me in. I played 2 or 3 different rounds, and I was like, I've played better tactic games, and there's better tactic games out there. There's just nothing to keep me interested in this game.
Okay, so I played one that this is so easy. Occupy Mars. Occupies Mars is The Martian, the video game. It really is just a first-person Mars exploration sim. Like you're literally getting, and it's pretty detailed. Like you get into the rover, you close the door, you get into the seat, you operate the arm to pick up things and put it in the back of your rover that you can then deconstruct and turn into resources to build things. I honestly didn't play it longer than like 15-20 minutes because like I could tell where it was going, and I was like, I can't invest in building a town and doing all this type of stuff that I normally do when I know it's just a demo. That's my biggest issue is like, I'm like, I don't want to deal with like building the whole thing, getting all stoked and spending a couple hours and then being like, hey, see, it's gone forever. However, yeah, exactly. Immediate wish list for me though. Like a wish list game. This sounds like a dope game once it's out. It was super detailed and accurate and cool. So Occupy Mars, if you like those first person sim type builder games, worth checking out for wish.
Can I just say I didn't play this one on purpose because I knew the second I saw it that JD was going to play it.
An instant buy for me, an instant pick. Like I love all that Mars exploration shit. So cool.
Yeah, it's dope. So this one, both Peterson and I played. I already knew that I want it because it's based on a board game that I really enjoy, and I think Peterson enjoyed it too. It's called Wingspan. So Wingspan, and man, the demo is super good, man.
It is the best demo I played easily in terms of demo.
Yes, absolutely. It holds your hand because there's a lot to the game. Especially if you're not a board gamer. So they have to explain everything, and they do a really good job. And the birds they animate, so the birds are on cards, and when you play the card, the bird kind of like moves a little bit, and like it's all like paper ish kind of art style.
And it tells you like some facts about the real bird too.
Yeah,
it's like the ring-tailed swallow will do, and it's like, oh, sweet.
So the whole point of the game is you're collecting these birds and putting them into your, I guess, reserve or whatever, and you're feeding them bugs and stuff like that, and you're trying to create combinations of birds that score you a bunch of points. There's obviously a lot more nuance to that, but
yeah, I'll say
I really enjoy it.
This is what I tell people about Wingspan, the board game. This is the best board game you would never think about playing if you just saw it, because it's called Wingspan. The art on the front cover is a big bird, and it's not what you look for in a board game. It doesn't look alluring. It doesn't draw you in. This game is actually incredible, and it is very tactical. As Aaron said, there's like four different like what are they, habitats you like, have, and they all have different like abilities, so you can use that ability, or you can put a bird there, and then when you use that habitat to get eggs or to get food or to hatch a bird or whatever it is, draw cards, you have to make all these decisions, and you think you have more turns than you're going to. And this is why the game is so good, because you come up with a strategy, and next thing you know, you're like, dude, this round is almost over. Like, I got to just get my stuff down, because you have to be very aware of every single turn that you're doing. It sounds so dumb because it's birds, but I'm telling you, this game is so good. And the tutorial, it was essentially the the demo was the tutorial of the game, and it was phenomenal. You came out of it like, oh, I know how to play this game, and I wanted to play more. It is a great game. The video game version of it was fantastic. I wholeheartedly recommend Wingspan.
And the music is just tranquil and sweet. It's so good.
It was very
Love
good.
it.
Fantastic.
Dope. The next one I played was For the People. This is a USSR bureaucrat sim, essentially. It actually doesn't take place in the USSR, but it is extremely similar to Soviet-style policies and bureaucratic maneuvering. You are signing papers, you are making social decisions, you're talking to local leaders. Later, you end up managing resources, deliveries, things that are very limited in supply. Obviously, you have to make hard calls like, do you fund the hospital or the fire department? And you have to choose. And then the hospital calls you and tells you you've put many people's lives at risk, and the central committee gets pissed at you. Dude, it is pretty immersive. It's hand-drawn art, like that they use kind of as cutscenes between the days, because it basically you do all these tasks and you get phone calls on like that Soviet-style telephone that's ringing all the time, and you have to answer phones and stamp papers and sign things, and people drop by your office and you deal with that. And then once you've done all the things for the day, you advance the day. It's crazy. It was something totally fresh and new. I thought it was dope. I had a lot of fun. So for me, it was a wish list. It's called For the People.
My next one is Gloria Victis Siege. It's a time management strategy RPG with base building. I guess it's based on an MMO that's also on Steam, Gloria Victis. And so this one is you control one guy at the start, then you get another guy. You're collecting resources to build your castle, and I don't know. There's not really too much to this game because it's kind of like people compare it to like a little bit of the Frostpunk and that one like black and white game that's based in World War II. I forget. You're in a broken down building. I forget the name of it.
This War of Mine. That one.
This War of Mine. Yeah. So it's kind of a little bit like that, where you're scavenging, getting food and water. But it's a super slow game. Super slow. So I would say keep an eye on it and see if they kind of improve how things work. But it's kind of cool, but I don't see myself buying it probably unless it was at a pretty good discount. But yeah, Gloria Victis Siege.
Okay.
2.
Okay, I played a game, and Aaron actually played this one as well, so we're just doubling up on a few. Space Crew. So Space Crew is think of it like it's an FTL-like, I'll say.
Oh.
You are manning a spaceship that's going out and doing missions. You have your captain, you've got your security guy, you've got your engineer, right? And you have to tell them essentially, you put them on their battle stations. So you go through, and how it's different is there's this zoom mechanic where you zoom out and control like the ship camera essentially, and you highlight where you want to go, and then your ship will start heading that direction. In the meantime, you get attacked. And that's when things get crazy because there is no pause. There is a slowdown mode, but it still gets crazy. So you have to put your guys on the guns. There you have 4 guns on the ship you start with. You have to put a guy on the gun. You have to pick which ones, because like if you put your communications guy on there, then you can't see, and so you can't like target the ships. And so you have to be kind of strategic about the way you do that. But then you have to go to that zoom mechanic and actually highlight the enemies. You have to like find them and highlight them so your guys know where to shoot. And then in the meantime, while that's happening, an alien will board your ship and start attacking stuff, or you'll get shot and your ship will start on fire. So you have to take one of your guys off of what they're manning to go grab a fire hydrant a fire extinguisher, and extinguish the fires, or go fight the aliens who have boarded your vessel. So all of that is similar.
So it's like FTL, but super stressful.
It is.
Yes.
It is hard.
Okay.
FTL is hard. This game, I felt overwhelmed on my first mission, but I will say I loved it. I got done, and I didn't even like pass the last mission in the demo, and I was like, I loved it. I'll do it again. I don't care. I would keep doing that. It was crazy. I lost half my crew. Like half of them died. I sucked that bad, but I still liked it.
So yeah, he's not joking. It's stressful. It's fast paced when the action starts happening. The cool thing is after the mission, you'll go back to headquarters or the space station, whatever. You can like outfit your crew or like recruit people. I didn't look too much into that, but you can upgrade
fix up your
ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can get different weapons and armor and like different stations within your ship. It was kind of like there's a lot to customize, more than I thought it would be. So did you choose the first actual mission you go on? Did you choose the fast route or did you take the slow, safe route?
I chose the slow route on the way out and the fast route on the way back, and I die. I pretty much lost everyone on my way back.
Yeah. Okay, so if you take the fast route, like it's just a swarm of enemies. I don't know how anybody could pass that part and survive. But the thing that I did not like pushing the middle mouse button to do your camera view to highlight the enemies. I thought that was just kind of stupid. It didn't make a whole lot of sense why you would even need to do that to highlight. I don't know. It just adds it, but it's unnecessary. I feel like I feel like if they got rid of that mechanic altogether, it would be fine. Like you wouldn't be missing anything. But like you said, maybe it's a different thing to manage, but it's not a fun or interesting thing to manage, in my opinion. But I did like how you have to make the choices, like Peterson said, of which guy do you actually want to be shooting. And I actually forgot to put people onto guns, and I was like, why aren't like things dying? So I was like, oh, okay. So, because you start off
guns
with
don't work, they're broken.
Yeah, because I think you start off with like one or two people on guns already, but there's two empty guns, and so you have to put the two dudes on there. And then I have like 4 aliens board my ship, and I was like, just you, dude, go grab a gun and
start killing them.
Oh my gosh, it was pretty bad. And then everything was on fire, and I died.
So for me, this is a wish list. I really enjoyed it. I think the demo's still available if you look at their Steam page. This is one that I really loved. So I think Aaron wasn't as into it as I was, but this for me was a wish list game for sure.
Dope. Yeah, I was gonna say I might not be as into it as you are if it's that stressful, but maybe, you never know. This one I played. Okay, so I played this game called The Survivalists, and talking to Peterson, it sounded like this came out of Team 17's indie dev studio thing. So this was another Team 17, the guys that did Worms and have published Monster Sanctuary that I've been obsessed with. This comes out of the same studio. This is The Survivalists, and I don't know. It didn't really strike me. You go around, obviously you create, you craft yourself an axe that you can use to farm new materials that you can then craft other things with, that you can then build things and get more materials and craft more things with those. You can actually collect monkeys, and the monkeys can help you either attack things or craft things. Ultimately, I don't think survival games of that order are really my jam. It kind of seemed Minecraft-y. It wasn't really my thing. I was kind of bummed out, but I feel like if I had it on the Switch, I'd get into it because it was kind of like more hardcore Stardew Valley. So this is a MMO, right? No.
It has multiplayer. So I'll say it's A better comparison for this game looks like Don't Starve. If you ever played Don't Starve, like the multiplayer mode, it looks like that.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. Honestly, like I couldn't see myself playing it on PC because when I'm sitting at my desk on my PC, like I want to play something more involved. But I could definitely see myself playing this on the Switch. It's not out on the Switch yet, but I think it's coming out later this year. And I will 100% be getting it when it's on Switch because it's a perfect, like, I got Netflix on in the background game. So that's the Survivalists.
Okay.
Aaron, do you have any more?
No, I'm done.
Okay, I have a bunch because I doubled up on a lot of errands, so I'm going to knock a few of these out, if you're okay with that.
Okay. Yeah, just bang through them.
Rapid fire.
So I played a game called The Bonfire 2 Uncharted Shores. So this is a what's it called? A RTS
Game.
survival strategy simulation type of game. So you've crash landed on this island and you have to start with nothing, right? You got to go send your guys to go classic survival type of game. A simulation game. You got to send them to go get wood. They get wood. They build a hut. Then they build a bonfire. Other people are attracted to your bonfire and they show up. But it has a time system. So your people only work during the day. Then they go to sleep at night. And at night, monsters come, wolves and bad guys and stuff. So you have to have guards out. And they stay up all night, so they sleep during the day. So you have to kind of manage that. I'll say the one good thing about this is it was hard, and my guys died a lot. Like, I lost a lot of guys, but it kept giving me more. And as you go, then you can build a mine, and it really held your hand. I think it started off really slow. At times, the UI was a little bit janky. There was a couple things like the game's I froze it on accident. I didn't know how to unfreeze it. But once I figured out all the controls, this is a very good game. And once the demo ended, I wanted to play more. I really enjoyed it. It seemed simplistic, kind of like Banished. I played Banished a lot. And I really like it. I just like these types of games. I don't want it to be too complex. Sometimes I just want to sit down and build my village and let my people work on it, you know? So this, for me, if you like RimWorld, if you like Banished, this is which I do, this is a definite wish list for me. It's called The Bonfire 2 Uncharted Shores. Okay, the next one, oh gosh, this is a definite wish list. Grounded. This is a game JD and I had both talked about at separate points, seeing the trailers from different conventions that they've done or whatnot. Grounded is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the game. You play as some teenager. You play as a teenager. It's first person. You play as a teenager. You are put down in the yard. You're shrunk down and you're in your yard trying to survive. So you're fighting like ants and spiders and little bugs, right?
I can't believe I didn't get to this.
And it's a survival game. It is a survival game where you are going through and you have to get the wood, and then you make an axe, and then you chop down a thing, then you can make a spear, and then you fight it has that same gameplay loop. I loved it. Again, when the demo ended, I was like, no, I want to keep playing. I really enjoyed it. So this is Grounded. Definite. I've had my eye on this game before, was stoked to play the demo, and so this is a wish list for me for sure.
Comes out soon.
Yep. Okay, so another. This is okay. I played another one.
How many more do you have left?
Three more.
Oh
I know. I
my
doubled
God.
up with
30
Aaron.
seconds. Crank on these.
Okay, here we go. The Way of Wrath. This is a turn-based tactics game. You're playing as some Vikings. It was bleak. Your party dies right off the gate, and like people on your team are dying, and it looked like it would be fun. It was not. The game was not fun. The camera was bad. The controls were bad. I just couldn't. I couldn't. The story seemed good, but man, I couldn't get past the gameplay. So the Way of Wrath was a no. And then I'll do one more no and then a yes. So I played a game called Raise the Dead, RAY''S. So this is a very cartoony game that looked like it was going to be really fun. It was an adventure game. You play as a zombie that they brought back to life, and then they left, and you're like wandering around. And so you're this zombie with a light bulb on your head. You don't know what's happening. And so you just go through this graveyard trying to find your way out. And at first I was like, this is going to be so cool because you find these graves and you read them and there's a little message, but they had names of all their Kickstarter backers. And you're like, oh, that's tight. Quickly found out, though, the gameplay's just not fun. You control with the WASD and you attack with your mouse. And it's one of those ones where you move with WASD and the mouse, your guy will attack whichever way you're like looking with the mouse. But it just like didn't track well. It was super repetitive, like not very fun fighting. The combat, which seems like it's the game, was not fun. So Raise the Dead, it was funny. The music was incredible, so good. But the game itself just wasn't fun. And then the last one, this was a very much yes for me. Desperados 3. This is by THQ Nordic, so not a small indie studio. It is a point-and-click action stealth cowboy game, top down. So you start off the first mission, you're a dad and a kid, and you're trying to break into this place. You're avoiding detection. It's essentially a puzzle solver because like it shows where the guards are looking, and you have to like distract them, and then your dad will kill them by throwing a knife in their back or something. The UI was fantastic. Tutorial was incredible. It was really fun. It was like the cartoonish realism graphics. And then so I played through and I was like, sweet, I finished the mission. Nope, there's more. Then you play as just the dad, and you've got a gun, you've got your knives. So then it becomes like stealth and kill, right? You sneak up on guys and kill them, or you can just shoot them, but it draws more guards. And again, it's top down. And so that was really fun. And then I finished that and I was like, oh, sweet. Nope, there's more. Then you play as 2 adult characters and you control them each separately. So you switch who you're controlling. So again, there's like, one distracts, the other kills. And so this game was honestly so much fun. And it was another one that once I finished, I was like, I want to play this more. So this is Desperados 3. So that's all, right? That's all the games?
I have one more. If you're all done.
I'm all done. Go for it.
The last one I played was called Partisans 1941. It is a slow, methodical stealth game. You play as a Soviet guerrilla fighter during the Nazi invasion of Eastern Europe. It was a really cool game. It's an awesome take on storytelling. It's kind of nerve-wracking. It's more or less top-down stealth. You can click on people and see their like cone of vision, and then you can kind of walk around them. You pick up new items. Once I did get to a point where I had a gun, and so there was gun combat and stuff, which was, like I said, it's more slow and tactical. It's not as rigid as you would see in like XCOM, for example, but it's very it's still like a far cry from like one-on-one gun fights and stuff. So Partisans 1941 for me was an instant wish list. It was super fun as a stealth game, and I think anyone that listens to this podcast knows I'm not that big of a stealth gamer. I thought it was awesome, and what carried me through it was the story and the fact that I could just hang out in a stealth area and not be sniffed out, so I could take my time and kind of plan
figure it
my
out.
next move. So I really like that. Yeah. Okay, so I think we're kind of at time.
Wait, real quick. I I wrote down all of these, so I want to read through them just because we said a lot of games. So I want you to have the list of the wish list games. So I'm going to read these through.
Okay.
We had Grief Helm. These are all the ones that we said to put on your wish list. Grief Helm, Rift Breakers, The Wild at Heart, Iron Harvest, The Dungeon of Nulbuk, The Rat Project, Backbone, Occupy Mars, Wingspan, For the People, Space Crew, The Bonfire 2, Grounded, Desperados 3, and Partisans 1941. All of those are games you should at least wishlist so you can check out because we played them and we enjoyed them, and I think these are generally enjoyable games.
And so we will share links to these on Twitter and in our Discord. You can find us on Twitter at 3-Bit Gamer Show, and then there's a link to our Discord there. We'll share all the links to these games in both those places throughout the week, and I'm going to clip out this little segment here so you can listen to this again if you ever want to, listen to the different games that we've wish listed. But on the way out, big kudos to Steam. Big shout out to coming up with a way for indie devs and other devs to get their games out there and get in front of gamers. Like I said, one of our listeners, an indie dev, I think he's here in Utah. The guy that did Numels, his game was on the front page of 2 different sections of the Game Fest. And so he got a lot more eyes on his game than he would have otherwise. And I just think that's really neat because we don't have a lot of opportunities right now in 2020 for game devs to get out and share their game. Obviously, there's things like GDC that have been canceled. So, that is the Steam Game Festival. Thanks to Peterson and Aaron for being in on that. God, we played a marathon amount of games. That's so fun. I get to finally clean up my messy desktop now because it's just covered in icons everywhere from all these games I was downloading. So yeah, that'll be good. We're just gonna move on. Dice of Destiny.
Dice of Destiny.
We're actually going to skip this week. I was supposed to pick an RTS game under $20, but obviously I was a bit busy playing every other game under the sun. So next week I will have an RTS for my Dice of Destiny pick, and I will also have a Monster Sanctuary review, and hopefully we'll get to some listener questions next week. If you guys have any more listener questions, feel free. You've got a week to get them in. Because we pushed them because the Steam Game Festival was so cool.
Yep.
And it just kind of added up. So I guess that does it for us. To play us out, we have the music from Desperados 3. Peterson played some of this, and it's really dope. Very westerny. All right. That does it for us this week. I'm JD, logging off.
This is Peterson going AFK.
Aaron rolling out.
Peterson Productions. Oh yeah.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, an Aaron Walth original said he wrote, he thought we were not recording.
Just sitting by myself, singing to myself. Hard lads. They try to break chairs over each other's backs. Hard lads.